You wanna know who I am? Folks call me the Bone Man. Ain't my real name, but it's the one that stuck. Tonight, on Requiem Radio, they say there's a song that'll follow you into your dreams. A song that crawls through the static of an old radio, whispering things you can't unhear. Metallica called it Enter Sandman, but long before it tore through the airwaves in '91, that same shadow had a name in another tongue. They say he comes to close your eyes, but what if he came to take them? This one's called The Sandman's Lullaby.
In the summer of 1991, Enter Sandman hit the world like a fever. Every car radio, every record shop, every kid with a Walkman knew that riff. A chain of notes heavy enough to rattle glass. Parents said it was just noise. But for some of us, it was a sound that stirred something older. That fall, I was teaching a course on Gothic literature at a community college in Alabama. And all my students, black shirts, long hair, the glow of youth and rebellion, had that same album tucked into their backpacks. When I told them our next story was E.T.A. Hoffman's The Sandman, a murmur ran through the room. One boy leaned back and said, "Like the Metallica song." And I said, "Exactly like the Metallica song." We decided to read it one night, not in a classroom, but in an old dormitory that'd been boarded up for years. No electricity, just flashlights and a few candles trembling in their cups. I began to read Hoffman's words aloud of a wicked man who throws handfuls of sand in the eyes of children who won't go to bed, so that their eyes jump out bleeding. He puts the eyes in a bag and carries them to the moon to feed his children who sit there with hooked beaks like owls. The air in that room changed. A draft slid under the door. Though the windows were sealed, the candles flickered. One student, a tall boy in a denim jacket, whispered the first line of the song. "Say your prayers, little one. Don't forget, my son." Another joined in, half laughing, half singing. "Sleep with one eye open." Their laughter died fast, because from the hallway came the sound of footsteps, slow dragging as though someone were walking with shoes full of sand. I called out. No answer. The nearest candle went out, and from the darkness something shifted, a shape we could almost but not quite see. We left. No one spoke until we were outside, under the streetlights. Most brushed it off. Wind, maybe an animal, maybe nerves. But one girl, Emily, walked close beside me, and she whispered. I saw his eyes, they were glowing. That night I dreamt of him. Not the fairy tale Sandman, but Hoffman's demon. He came to me across a wasteland of ash. His hands were iron tongs, his voice was a rasp of metal and sand. He asked me for my eyes. I woke up gasping, and for nights after, the dream returned. Emily never came back to class. Her roommate said she couldn't sleep. She heard a lullaby at her window, a man's voice singing, "Hush, little baby, don't say a word." And then, in a rasp, never mind that noise you heard. They weren't from Hoffman, they were from Metallica. When I visited her later, she was pale, eyes rimmed red, afraid to blink. She said if I close my eyes, he'll take them. I tried to reassure her, to talk of Gothic symbolism, of metaphor, but she only whispered, "He wants mine." 2 weeks later, she was gone, withdrawn from the college. I never saw her again. We finished the semester. No one wore their Metallica shirts anymore, and though the song kept climbing the charts, I noticed something else whenever it came on the radio. I reached instinctively to turn the dial because I'd begun to wonder. If words are incantations and songs are prayers with a backbeat, then what happens when millions of people chant the same dark lullaby night after night across the world? Maybe the Sandman isn't a metaphor after all. Maybe he's an echo, a presence that stirs whenever we speak his name, whenever we hum his tune, whenever we close our eyes and drift between the waking world and the dark. Hoffman saw him first, the man of iron, the collector of eyes. Metallica just gave him an anthem, and now every time I hear that opening riff, those hammering chords and that slithering lullaby underneath, I feel him near again, waiting at the edge of sleep, one hand outstretched, fingers tipped with iron, and a whisper, sleep with one eye open.
You've been listening to Requiem Radio, where music bleeds into the supernatural. And that was the Sandman's lullaby. He don't bring dreams, he takes them. And that's not all he takes. Hush, little baby. He just wants to take your eyeballs. Ain't gonna be no more tonight. Y'all rest easy. And don't let the dark drive you home.